And the umpire was expressing his appreciation for the way our team handled the situation. It looked hopeless. And that was one of the greatest compliments I feel like I've ever had as a coach. To be in that really moment of like down and despair, like, man, we're just getting pounded here and things just don't seem to be going our way. We won 20-17. I didn't see it coming. In fact, I had a player who was pulled out in the first inning with a hamstring, who I put back in the game, who could not walk. He could hit. There was 2 outs. He hits a routine ground ball to the second baseman. And I told him, I said, no running. And he hobbled towards first base, 90 feet. The ball sailed over the first baseman's head. He didn't have to run. Because walk, 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 score. He never even had to do anything but walk around the bases. Sometimes life looks hopeless. Sometimes life looks like there is no light. Sometimes life looks so dark that there's no way things are going to turn, that the tide is always going to be out. It's never coming in. I do think we skew the word hope too often. When we're talking about hope, Paul writes to Timothy, he says, God, our Creator, and Jesus Christ Jesus, our hope. I got a couple of quotes I want to share with you. You want to talk about somebody who knew despair. We mentioned this person several times, Dietrich Bonhoeffer. This is a Bonhoeffer quote. The celebration of Advent is possible only to those who are troubled in soul, who know themselves to be poor and imperfect, and look forward to something greater to come. Blessed are the poor in spirit. We know that there's something greater to come. And I want to read another quote from a contemporary of Bonhoeffer, Karl Barth. And he says, unfulfilled and fulfilled promise. See, today we celebrate hope and promise. There is no difference between hope and promise when it comes to God. There is no guarantee that my hope of catching a fish is the promise, right? Listen to this. Unfulfilled and fulfilled promise are related to each other, as are dawn and sunrise. Think about that. Unfulfilled and fulfilled promise are related to each other, as are dawn and sunrise. Both promise and, in fact, the same promise. If anywhere at all, then it is precisely in the light of the expectation of future revelation. But faith knows for whom and for what it is waiting. It is fulfilled faith because it lays hold on the fulfilled promise. God promised he will come again in glory to judge the living and the dead. fulfill that promise. We live in a time, the fancy term is realized eschatology. You see, eschaton, the end, the Advent season, we're reminded of Jesus